Hi everyone, Wendy Taylor here from Windsor, Ontario, and I'm excited to be with you one more evening, and I would like to talk to you a little bit about make it positive. Now, before we even get into my talk, I want to say something here. We are going to be having a virtual conference coming up on May the 1st of this year. And we have 11 speakers, musicians. It's going to be an amazing day. And ladies, we are asking all of you to sign up. If you're watching this today, I'm asking you to sign up. Our website is www.womenofinfluence.live. And I just would encourage you to go on there. It'll tell you more about the Women of Influence. And I know that you would just love this conference. So ladies, it's time to sign up, and we're excited. We believe we're going to have a good group of you watching this. You can watch it from the comfort of your own home, and it's going to be on a Saturday from 2 till about 8 o'clock at night. And so I know that this is just going to be an amazing time for you. First of all, we want to talk about this little talk I have for you tonight, and it is, how do we change this negative time into a positive experience? Now, I think all of us are going through something where we are suffering in one way or the other. Whether you have children that you are at home with and you're trying to help them with schooling, whether you're struggling with masks and finding that area very difficult, or whether your work has laid you off because they didn't need you. There are so many areas that people are hurting and suffering right now. And I would just encourage you today to listen to what we have to say about making this a positive experience. We can become stronger and better if we discipline ourselves to improve. We need to discipline ourselves spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. All of these areas we need to discipline ourselves and just watch what can happen through that. You know, it's a good time for inventory, to look at our lives and say, are we balanced? Do we have every area of our life that is that is under control? For instance, the physical. I know this is an area I struggle with a little bit, and many of us are running to comfort foods as we think about, what we're all going through, and we want to make our favorite foods or buy our favorite things, with restaurants being closed. So this might be one area. And exercise, that's something that is so important. Mentally, I just find that reading really good books, not necessarily fiction, but non-fiction books that are going to be helpful. They can be stimulating, and they can be so helping you in a positive direction. Emotionally, connect with a good friend or a family member, and just get on the phone and have a good talk, or it could be a video call that you're having with your friend. But these are things that you can do to improve yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. But the most important one that I want to focus on tonight is spiritually. You know, if we get our spiritual life in order, everything else is going to come together. And that is the most important one. And I'm going to read a couple verses to you tonight. And if you have a Bible, you can look up James 1, and this is in the Amplified, and it is verse 3. Be assured and understand that the trying and proving of your faith brings endurance, steadfastness, and patience. What more can we want, ladies? I mean, we want to be stable, right? We don't want to be fluctuating every day. One day we're up, one day we're down. Whatever happens, we're down in the pits, we get depressed. I know we've had several people from our church that have had to go to the psych ward this last few months, and just very, very difficult to see people suffering. And I just want to encourage you that we have to discipline our lives in all of these areas the spiritual being most important. Now, another couple verses that are so good are verses 5 and 6 in James 1. If any of you is deficient in wisdom, let him ask of the giving God, who gives to everyone liberally and ungrudgingly, without reproaching or fault finding, and it will be given him. Only it must be in faith that he asks, with no wavering or hesitating or doubting. For the one who wavers, hesitates, or doubts is like the billowing surge of the sea that's blown hither and thither, tossed by the wind. Now, I live across the street from the river, from the Detroit River, and on windy days, and especially if the wind is blowing in the opposite direction that the current is going, I was going to say the tide. We don't have a tide here. The current is flowing. The waves just stand right up, and it's very blustery out there. You wouldn't want to be in a boat out there. And we don't want to be like that. Every which way the wind is blowing, whatever is going on, whatever comes on TV and on politics or on the virus, and we're all down in the pits. I mentioned the last time when we did our little talk that I think it's important that we know what's going on. I'm very much into hearing the news, but the important thing is that we're able to turn away from that and get our eyes on Jesus again, and stay focused on him, not focused on all the negative things that are happening around us. But if we ask for wisdom, he has promised to give it to us. I would say that is probably the most important thing that we could ask for, is wisdom. And I want to share a couple experiences that my husband and I have had. You know, years ago, when we were only about 24 years old, we decided we were going to perhaps go and work with some children in group homes. And it was quite a challenging decision. As we looked at our Bibles, we found a verse, 1 John 3:17. If you have enough money to live well and see your brother in need and don't help him, the love of God really isn't in you. And as we thought about this, we thought, wow, you know, it's big undertaking, but we are Christians. And I believe that God does want us to give up our lives to follow him and to help others. And so that verse was a changing point for us. Little did we know, for the next 25 years, we would be working with very difficult children that had been abused, that had been forsaken. And these kids were, many of them were in trouble with the law and having a lot of struggles. But it was a 25-year journey for us, and it changed our lives. And I'm so glad that we made that decision. When we arrived in Kitchener, we found out something that was shocking to us. We had been promised a certain salary for doing this, and it was shortly after we arrived that we sat with the director, and he told us that the salary was exactly half of what we had been promised. Now, we were shell-shocked, needless to say. We sat and looked at each other and said, oh my goodness, like we had planned on living on this amount. We had furniture and storage. We had expenses. Was this really what God wanted for us? And as we sat and thought about it, we realized that why did we come here anyway? We came because we felt God was calling us. We felt that we were in God's perfect will for our lives, and we wanted to serve him. So we're not going to turn back because of the money. We are going to stick it out, and we're so glad we did as we look back now. You know, after a few years of getting out of working with children, my husband felt called to be a pastor. And it wasn't long after he qualified as a pastor that we had several options that we could have chosen. One was a beautiful church in Michigan that had offered a position to my husband with over 1,000 people in the church, and he would have been a financial director, and there were just a lot of exciting options for us there, and we thought this would be the best one for us, for sure. Then we thought about it, and we all of a sudden got a call that there was a bishop that asked us to take a leadership role in his denomination. And then there was one more little church. You can hear my clock going in the background. One more little church. It was a little blue church on the corner, and it was not the one that we normally would choose. This little church needed total fixing up. It needed new bathrooms. It needed new flooring, windows, you name it. It needed everything. We didn't have the money to fix it up. We were just coming out of this other job, and we didn't know how we were going to do this, because we were not going to receive a salary to start this little church that we were trying to get going. And they told us when we took it over that the people that were there, the older people, were going to be leaving. They were all in their 80s, and there was only a handful of them, and they were not going to be staying. So there we were, my husband and I, driving 40 miles from our home to this little blue church, praying once a week, asking God to bring us people and to show us how we could build our church. And, you know, we had many things happen during that time. I remember one time we went to the mailbox, and there was a check for $2,000 from a businessman in Windsor that did not attend our church, that we did not even know. And here he had put this check in the mailbox for us. Another time, we used to have a lot of snow in the winter, and we had somebody that was shoveling our walks from each time we had a big snowfall. And we knew it was nobody in our church, because my husband and I were doing almost everything in the church, because most of our people were new believers and they depended on us totally. So one day we were at the church doing some work, and somebody knocked on the door, and it was a man who he came in, and he looked a little bit rough. He had on a motorcycle vest, and he looked tough. And he said, "I just want you to know that I'm the one that has been shoveling your walks ever since the last couple winters. I just feel that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to look after the walks of this little church. And that's why I come and take care of your sidewalks and shovel." And we invited him to church, and he said, "Oh no, the church would burn down if I ever came in it. No, I don't go to church, but I feel that I'm supposed to help you out by shoveling your walks." And then we saw many people come to know Jesus. I mean, there were people on drugs, and women from the shelters, sometimes coming with bruises on their face, and just all kinds of people that were coming to our church that God was bringing that we could minister to. And, you know, we saw people healed of cancer. We saw many salvations, many things happen over the next 15 years that we have had the church. We still have this little church. God has been so faithful. And, you know, as we look back, that wouldn't have been a decision if we had sat and weighed everything out thinking, is this what we really want to do, if we knew what was all going to happen? But God gave us wisdom at that time, I believe, to make the right choice, the one that He had for us. Because as we look back, we wouldn't change a thing. We know this is what God called us to. We know that this is where we were to be. And we know that many lives were affected. And I'm not bragging about us, because I know that we are just people, and we have to constantly be asking God for wisdom to do the thing that He would choose for us, not what we would like to do. So with that, I just want to encourage you to spend time with God. Get on your knees and ask Him for forgiveness for not putting Him first in your life. And then read your Bible. Find a good Bible teaching church. If you want to come into a Bible study, all you have to do is message me. Thursday nights at 8 o'clock, we have a Bible study that I've written on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. And I would love to have you join us. We've had some of our Facebook family contact me saying they want to be part of it, and they are now part of our group. What we do is we do it on Messenger. We do a video camera on Messenger, so that we see each other just as if we were on Zoom. I haven't had really good experiences from Zoom, so I've kind of strayed away from that. but this is working out really well. So if that interests you, let me know. And if you are interested in sharing this with your friends, I have a couple books that I have written, and I would love to send you a book if you share it. All you have to do is to message me and tell me that you've shared you have shared my talk tonight, and I will send you either 7 keys to a lifetime marriage. This year, my husband and I will be celebrating 50 years, so we've had a lifetime of marriage. Or I will send you the one on Heal Our Families. And if your family is going through a lot of difficult situations and you would like to see healing with your children, your grandchildren, in your relationships, whatever it is, I would love to send that to you. All you have to do is send me your address on Messenger, and I will send that out to you. So with that, I'm going to close tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you have, give me a thumbs up. Let me know. If you have prayer requests, I'd love to pray for you. And don't forget to check out our virtual conference coming up May 1st. Check out the website www.womenofinfluence.live. And when you do, you can sign up for it. It's about $30, I believe. You can go PayPal or whatever, and you can sign up for that, and we will give you the password how to get into it on that day. May 1st, it'll be from 2 in the afternoon till about 8 in the evening. 11 speakers, musicians. It's going to be an amazing day, so please join us. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this evening, and I'll talk to you again next Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.